Hello? Oh, hi. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Associated Students Election Debates. My name is Callista Stalker. I'm the editor-in-chief of the student-run Daily Aztec newspaper here at SDSU. Today, we're going to hear directly from the candidates for VP of External Relations and Executive Vice President. Before we get started, we're going to go over some ground rules. First, during the debate, please be respectful by speaking when it is your turn and by respecting the time limits set forth by the moderators for each question. We're going to skip the opening statements and get straight into the questions because you'll have an opportunity to introduce yourself during those. We have a series of general questions for everybody and a few targeted questions for the candidates based on their backgrounds and the candidate statements they turned in. If you would like to make a rebuttal, please raise your hand. For general questions, we will allow 30 seconds for a rebuttal, and then for the personal questions, we will allow 1 minute. I will be moderating the discussion today, and Mimi Simons here will be keeping time. She'll let you know when you have 15 seconds remaining and when your time is up. Does anyone have any questions? Perfect. All right, first up, we have with us the candidates for Vice President of External Relations. With us today is Jacie Quach, Celina Ramirez, and Scarlett Walker.
I think I already turned mine on.
Let's go, Scarlett! Yeah!
Let's go,
All right. First, we are going to get into some general questions. You will be allowed 1 minute each for a response, and then 30 seconds for a rebuttal. So if both other candidates choose to do a rebuttal, it is going to be 30 seconds for each candidate. All right. Starting up, we're going to start with you, Jacie. What inspired you to run for Vice President of External Relations, and what makes you qualified to be the ideal candidate for this position?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming to listen today, and thank you, Daily Aztecs, for hosting. My name is Jacie Quach, and I'm running to be your next Vice President of External Relations because I know that students need to have someone that is passionate and cares about student experiences. Understand with the government continuing to cut funding to education, it's important for students to have someone that they know that they can rely on to advocate for them in CSU spaces. My experiences being an SDSU ambassador and resident advisor, helping first-year and transfer students transition into SDSU, have allowed me to hear a variety of stories and experiences, hearing out the challenges that students face daily at this university. I have experiences taking in student feedback and implementing change throughout my time as the Commissioner for Recreation and Wellness. Students overwhelmingly complain about the ARC, and I have implemented that feedback and started an expansion on the ARC. In the end, I'm also just a student here that wants to see these changes on campus myself. I'm a third-year double majoring in criminal justice and psychology, and I want to be your next Vice President of External Relations.
Thank you. Same question for you, Celina. What inspired you to run for VP of External Relations, and what makes you qualified to be the ideal candidate for this position?
Hi, everyone. My name is Celina Ramirez, and I am a second-year history major with a minor in child and family development. And I'm here as your Vice President of External Relations candidate because I believe students deserve a leader that will protect their political freedoms, advocate for underrepresented communities, and promote educational through political and campaigns. And I have been part of Associated Students, specifically University Council, since I first got here on campus. I was a part of their first-year leadership experience and built off of this experience by joining University Affairs Board, where I had direct oversight and helped pass the Academic Partnership Agreement, a resolution currently in University Senate. And I sit as an elected College of Arts and Letters representative, giving me oversight into key legal documents and resolutions. This has prepared me to be an advocate for you at the statewide level and within the campus level by listening to your voices. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and again, same question for you, Scarlett. What inspired you to run for VP of External Relations, and what makes you qualified to be the ideal candidate for this position?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for moderating this debate. I would like to take a moment and recognize that. To take the time out of your day is a very important thing to do. My name is Scarlett Walker, and I am running to be your next Vice President of External Relations. I am currently a double major in political science and criminal justice, so I've always been passionate about advocacy, and I've always been passionate about civic engagement, and I've always been looking to be able to do that in some way on this campus. When I started here in Associated Students, I started with Rock the Vote. which is an avenue to be able to advocate for something that I'm passionate about, which is something larger than me. This wider campus community deserves somebody who is willing to step up and speak for them. Through being a resident advisor, I've directly advocated behind the scenes for incredibly sensitive issues, which I have then taken to wider levels to heavily advocate for. I am an incredibly passionate person for the things and the people that I respect, and I have a deep love and shared respect for our community. The next Vice President of External Relations role called to me with the necessity for advocacy that it requires, and that is why I am running.
Thank you. For our next question, we will start with Celina. The role of Vice President of External Relations is to establish and maintain relationships with prominent individuals and organizations across SDSU. From your perspective, where are these relations lacking at the moment, and where are they the strongest?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I want to first say that I am a peer mentor at the Women's Resource Center, and I believe Associated Students deserves to strengthen connections with existing cultural centers on campus. I would also like to highlight the existing relationship between the Student Diversity Commission, which has representatives from cultural organizations and communities and cultural centers. If elected, I would be chairing the External Relations Board. And this is really important that we have a diverse representation of students, because this is the primary government body for that legislation that is being passed through there. And oversight over that is incredibly important. Cultural centers oversee students in mentorship programs, offer vital resources, and promote accessibility. For this reason, I would make sure to promote and uplift the charters currently within External Relations Board and advocate for more connections within that community by directly reaching out to representatives there. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have a response to this? All right, perfect. And then we will move on to you, Scarlett. The role of VP of External Relations is to establish and maintain relationships with prominent individuals and organizations across SDSU. From your perspective, where are those relations lacking at the moment, and where are they the strongest?
Absolutely, that's a wonderful question. There are a lot of avenues for advocacy already on our campus. A lot of students don't know that Associated Students is an avenue for them to create change. Bringing students into Associated Students to be able to do so is one of my goals through being able to connect to a larger population on campus. I would also really like to advocate at the state level through the CSU system, through the Cal State Student Association. I would be a designee for the president, our Associated Students president, and I'd be advocating for you, for the issues that you care about. A lot of our External Relations Board are also pushing for advocacy through writing letters to our local elected officials, through writing letters urging our state officials to be able to push forward on the things that students care about, and even going on advocacy trips for at the federal level to make sure that students are pushing for the issue that they care about most.
Thank you. Does anyone have a response to this? All right. Then we will ask the same question to you, Jamie. The role of VP of External Relations is to establish and maintain relationships with prominent individuals and organizations across SDSU. From your perspective, where are those relations lacking at the moment, and where are they the strongest?
Within this question, I actually think that we have a great connection with administrators on this campus and throughout the CSU. Something I actually want to work on as my time as Vice President of External Relations is connecting greater with the student body. At the end of the day, Associated Students represents the student voice, and we advocate at the higher avenues for students. I believe centering students in our work is super important. I even didn't know what AS was until the end of my second year, because someone saw something in me and was able to get me started in my AS journey. If it weren't for that friend, I wouldn't have learned the true impact that AS has on students. Therefore, when I was sitting in a CLC meeting, our campus life community, I was really excited to hear about the scavenger hunt that the Marcom committee was doing on the website. This helped to allow students to navigate the AS website better and understand where there's some issues in understanding the accessibility and clear communications of AS. I want to encourage clear and consistent communication to the student body of San Diego State University, because I believe that at the end of the day, students should be centered in our work.
Thank you. Does anyone have a response to this? All right, we will move on to another question, and we will start with you, Scarlett. What does civic engagement mean to you as a potential candidate for VP of External Relations, and what initiatives are you willing to take to amplify student engagement when it comes to participating in both local and national elections?
That is a fantastic question, and I'm actually going to highlight an initiative that we already have available to us. Rock the Vote. Rock the Vote is a wonderful initiative co-chaired by the Vice President of External Relations. I want to hit the ground running the moment that I step into office, should I be elected, and I want students to know that there are midterms coming up in November. Midterms are an incredibly important election that are often overlooked just because they're not presidential and they're not hitting the national news in the same way that presidential elections are. Many students don't know how to vote on campus when they first step here. So what I would do is hit the ground running, post an informational post on the Rock the Vote Instagram. Make sure students know that they're allowed to vote in their primary elections to vote for the people who are running, and know how to vote for people who are out of state, how to get their ballot, how to drop it off on campus, where they can vote on campus, pretty much everything you need to know about civic engagement and how you can do that on campus, even if you are an out-of-state student.
Thank you. Does anyone have a response to this? All right, then we will ask the same question to you, Jamie. What does civic engagement mean to you as a potential candidate for VP of External Relations? And what initiatives are you willing to take to amplify student engagement when it comes to participating in both local and national elections?
When it comes to civic engagement on this campus, I see many loopholes and faults within our student engagement on its own. Especially in just our student elections, we only had about 15% of student population voting in last year's AS elections. I believe that starting here at this base level is important for students to become involved in civic engagement. I've had many students come up to me throughout this election and campaign process asking, why should I even vote? My vote doesn't count. And if you carry that mindset through local, state, national elections, where are we going to get the civic engagement? At the end of the day, policies like Your Voice Matters and Rock the Vote are very important overall to get students engaged in local politics. I believe that students need to practice now to learn how to evaluate candidate statements and evaluate their own values and learn what they want to see in candidates running to represent them in higher offices.
Thank you. Does anyone have a response? All right, then same question for you, Celina. What does civic engagement mean to you as a potential candidate for VP of External Relations, and what initiatives are you willing to take to amplify student engagement when it comes to participating in both local and national elections?
Yeah, thank you. For me, civic engagement is equal parts action and education. So the action part is the tangible steps of actually voting and taking steps to register to vote. But education is just equally as important. Students need to understand what's happening on the ballot. And if elected, I would oversee the Rock the Vote campaign. I would like to also highlight the social media initiatives that have already been happening, and I would like to continue to do this by explaining in a easily accessible and tangible way the 3 ballot measures that are going to be in the general election in November. And I would also like to take a moment to use the Rock the Vote campaign to highlight the diverse voter identities that exist. Out-of-state students, international students, undocumented students, and students of mixed status families who may not feel safe or secure voting in such an uncertain political climate. And I would use the Rock the Vote campaign to promote civic engagement through walkarounds and workshops, showing that civic engagement is not through just tangible policies of voting alone, but also through the education that goes into it.
Thank you. Does anyone have a response to this? All right. Now we're going to move into some individual questions. For these, you will be allowed 2 minutes each to respond and 1 minute each for a rebuttal if you so choose. And we will start our first individual question back with Jamie. We know from your candidate statement that you interned for the San Diego County Public Defender's Office. Tell us in more detail how that experience has informed your understanding of the SDSU community, and how will you bring said experience to the VP of External Relations role?
My time at the interning with the County of San Diego's Public Defenders has been very inspiring. I get to work and advocate for a variety of individuals' needs, helping attorneys counsel and allow clients to understand their rights. And I think within these responsibilities has allowed me a lot of grace and time to learn how to communicate to others in general. I think communication, especially in terms of legal jargon, can be challenging. So being able to break that down, especially to SDSU students, for example, in the Rock the Vote initiative, helping to break down certain ballot measures or candidates that our students are able to vote on, I think is super important task to be able to do to our students to not only promote civic engagement, but overall become better contributors to our community. My time at the Public Defenders has truly allowed me to grow, not only as a student, but as a person that cares about other individuals. At the end of the day, my work is super important to me at the Public Defenders, and I'm really excited to continue that here as Vice President of External Relations.
Does anyone have a response to this? All right. Our next individual question is for Celina. In your candidate statement, you wrote, quote, I am committed to supporting AS by bringing in government leadership into student spaces. What would bringing government leadership to student spaces look like, and what is the importance?
Yeah, for me, that statement of bringing government officials into student spaces is really important for the Vice President of External Relations role. And for me, it's important to liaise between students and government by making sure that students feel safe and supported when bringing their concerns. I know that there's a lot of concerns related to budget cuts. It's affecting classroom sizes, and students should be able to express that in student spaces, using the External Relations Board to bring local government officials in order to foster that dialogue through not only that board, but also through open forums and constructive discussion, which I would help lead, and for the purpose of highlighting existing concerns on campus to create tangible change.
Thank you. Does anyone have a response to this? All right. Our last individual question is for Scarlett. In your candidate statement, you wrote, quote, I will push for stronger student oversight within the Evolve Housing Project to ensure transparency. What are some of the project's current communication issues, and how do you plan to improve them at the campus and system levels?
Absolutely, that's a wonderful question. So the Evolve Student Housing Project is not about renovating for current students, but adding more beds for new students who are coming to our campus. The current building that's up, that's adding students to our fall semester next semester, is over 1,300 beds. That means that it's going to affect the class sizes and the amount of areas for students to be able to promote their academic excellence. So they're already struggling to get those resources to graduate in 4 years. Part of the advocacy for Vice President of External Relations goes past that into other areas of campus. It means working with other executive officers, like our Vice President University candidate, Jacob Bledman. I want to work with him to make sure that we promote class sizes and to make sure that students are getting the resources they need to be able to graduate in 4 years. Adding more students to our campus should not mean the struggle for the rest of them.
Thank you. Does anyone have a response to this? Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Scarlett. I just also have a question. I understand within your candidate statement you included increasing transparency on the Evolve Housing Project. However, I also understand that there's also been many events that allow students to gain education on this project and the work that the university is doing to increase enrollment. So for example, there's been events where you can go meet with the construction people as well as the architects on this building that are proving why they are listening to students and their needs. In addition to that, I believe there's only about 800 beds added with this current building that's being built at the moment. Therefore, I think there are more stages that the construction is being planned right now. It's not happening increasingly right now with 1,300 students being admitted this upcoming fall. So I'm just wondering why this is a major part of your candidacy, as well as I was wondering if you would like to focus maybe your time on other student populations, such as commuter students that make up a larger proportion of our candidates or our student body.
Absolutely. That was an incredibly long question, so I'm going to go ahead and focus on the most important aspects of that. Many students don't know what's going on with the Evolve Housing Project. A lot of my residents that I've talked to have no idea what's going on, and through my campaign, a lot of people don't even know that it's going up. Factually, on the website, there are 1,300 beds being added with just this new building only, and continuing after that, there will be a differing amount of beds. That means that a lot of students are already struggling with their class sizes, and what are we coming here for at the end of the day? Is a degree. So that means that we need to work together with the people that are on our executive team to be able to advocate not only for the people who are already on our campus, but also for the people who are coming to our campus next year as well.
Great, thank you. We will get back into some general questions. As a reminder, you'll be allowed 1 minute each for a response and 30 seconds each for a rebuttal if you choose. We will start back with you, Jamie. The job of VP of External Relations requires that you leverage connections to the benefit of all SDSU students. What inclusivity initiatives are you planning to introduce to the campus if elected?
Excuse me, can you repeat the last part of the question?
Yes. What inclusivity initiatives are you planning to introduce to the campus if elected?
One thing that I truly value at this campus is the ability for students to connect at multiple levels. For example, when I came into AS, even though I started as a junior here, I believe that I was able to build many connections that I have fostered on to create overall more connections within my commission as well as just throughout this campus as a whole. One way that I want to effectively build inclusive connections on this campus is taking real data and tangible numbers and taking that into how I do this role as Vice President of External Relations. So this could come in the form of increasing the numbers of students that attend BCCs and rock the vote turnout, as well as watching to see how the CSU and SDSU continues to center students and their experiences. These matters overall help to increase student involvement, which overall then leads to more inclusive environments on this campus.
Thank you. Does anyone have a response to this? All right, then same question for you, Celina. The job of VP of External Relations requires that you leverage connections to the benefit of all SDSU students. What inclusivity initiatives are you planning to introduce to the campus if elected?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if elected as VP External Relations, I want to focus a little bit more on the strategic communication side of it. As the Chief Communications Officer, I would be overseeing marketing initiatives, strategic outreach, and I think it's really important to highlight the work Associated Students Leaders have done and the diversity and leadership across campus, recognizing that students are coming from RSOs and from within previous AS leadership experiences in order to make tangible change, like the positions up here. Students need to understand how to get into these spaces and to have the opportunity. In addition, I also think it's really important to work with cultural centers. Right now, External Relations Board is overseeing policies related to immigration. I want to work with the Monarch Unity Research Center in order to promote more allyship training and in high crisis situations for undocumented students.
Thank you. Does anyone have a response to this? All right. Then same question for you, Scarlett. The job of VP of External Relations requires that you leverage connections to the benefit of all SDSU students. What inclusivity initiatives are you planning to introduce to the campus if elected?
Absolutely, thank you so much. Jamie, I do agree with you. I think a lot of our students don't know about AS until they're well within their career here. Going into RSOs going into recognized student organizations to be able to pull people from different areas of campus is already a part of what my slate is doing. I'm incredibly proud to do that, and I want to keep doing that through the Rock the Vote campaign to ensure that students know about civic engagement and know that there are different levels and different ways to advocate for themselves, not only on this campus, but off this campus as well. Advocacy is not only for the comfortable or the knowledgeable. It is for every single person because everybody has issues. Every single person on this campus has a different issue that they would like to focus on, and that is equally important to us at the higher level of Associated Students leadership. Uplifting the voice of the collective student body is what this role is about, and I'm willing to do that as your Vice President of External Relations.
Thank you. Does anyone have a response to this? All right. All right, we will start once again back with you, Jamie. For this question, we will also provide 1 minute for a response. The question, I'm going to ask the question, then I'm going to explain it a little bit. So the question is, what's one question for your opponent? So we ask that you just pick one of your opponents to ask the question to, and they will get 1 minute to respond. All right, so Jamie, what is one question for your opponent?
My one question I think that is on most students' minds right now is, how do you plan to improve affordable housing in the college area and improve quality of life in residence halls? Do I need it directed?
Yes.
And that's directed for Scarlett.
Absolutely, that is a wonderful question. I did mention that in my candidate statement, and I am incredibly passionate about affordable housing in the college area. So one thing that I do want to do is work at the local and the state level, as well as the CSU level, to make sure that we create a protected class for students in the college area. That means no more rent spikes. That means not paying $2,000 for a single. A lot of students do need a single to be able to be holistically well, which then transfers into their academic well-being, which can then transfer into their comfortability to be able to advocate. The average rent price in San Diego for the college area right now is $1,925. That's egregious. That's absolutely ridiculous because every student needs shelter to be able to be here and be academically and holistically well. So what will I do? I will work with the External Relations Board. I will write letters from there, and I will urge our state politicians, and I will also talk to our local elected officials to be able to push that agenda for our students on our campus.
Thank you. Celina, what is one question you have for one of your opponents?
Yeah, my question is for Jamie. So I just want to ask, like, how are you prepared to sit within administrative spaces to advocate for SDSU when you don't outline any specific plans to communicate with the general student body in your candidate statement?
Through my work as an SDSU ambassador, I've been able to communicate with many different SDSU administrators, and so therefore I believe that being just a student in general is if anything, the easier way that I'm communicating with students right now. I am coming from the same perspective as students. If anything, I think the concern for candidates right now is how are we working to communicate with administrators and those in higher spaces, because at the end of the day, we're all students first, so being able to take that perspective into my work, communicate with students in a way that I understand is clear, concise, and accessible for students is really important, because at the end of the day, my work with administrators, while being important, I am here for the students first.
Thank you. All right. Scarlett, what is one question you have for one of your opponents?
My question is directed to Jamie. Jamie, you've mentioned that you want to improve the student voice through this role. What is one specific policy at the CSU or state level that you feel prepared to influence right now?
Right now, actually, I'm working with a committee through San Diego, as we spoke on that issue earlier about housing in the San Diego area. A major issue I've heard within students is similar to yours, which is housing and housing prices. Despite being a resident advisor and only living on campus, I have many friends and relationships on this campus that allow me to create connections and understand the struggles that other students are going through. Right now, Neighborhoods for All of San Diego is working with the city to help create more tangible and smaller lot homes in the areas that have more public transit stops. I think being able to work with tangible city plans that are already in the works right now is super important in order to provide fast solutions for our students that are facing many struggles throughout their time here at SDSU.
Thank you. We will now get into closing statements. For time's sake, we are going to allow 30 seconds for all of your closing statements, and we will start back with you, Jamie. So feel free to provide your closing statement.
Thank you, everyone, for coming and listening to me today. At the end of the day, again, I want to emphasize that I am here for students first. Being a student myself, I believe that we need people that are able to connect well with not only high-level administrators at the CSU level, but also students in general. My work at the Public Defender has allowed me to gain valuable insight into the legal world and be an advocate for individuals and all of their needs. I am ready to serve as your next Vice President of External Relations.
Thank you. Celina?
Oh, sorry, could you repeat again?
Oh, just your closing statement.
Thank you. Okay. Hi, everyone. I want to thank the Daily Aztec for their time today, just reporting on this debate. And I also want to thank my fellow candidates, Jamie and Scarlett, for their discussion today, and for every student who will be voting in AS elections now or in the future. I think it's really important to elect a student leader that will be empathetic and listen to their concerns and needs. I am prepared to advocate on behalf of you, continuing the work that I have already done in spaces within residence halls as your College of Arts and Letters representative, and continuing to advocate for you all through education at the statewide and campus level. Thank you.
Thank you. Scarlett?
I would also like to take a final moment to thank the Daily Aztec for moderating this debate, and for everyone who tuned in because they care about our shared community as much as I do. The world today is a terrifying place, and being a student on this campus should not add to that fear. Advocacy does not end at the edge of our campus. You deserve to see and feel change system-wide. I am eternally grateful to have a platform where I have the opportunity to advocate for 41,000 students here at San Diego State University. I would also like to echo Celina to thank the other lovely women on the stage for engaging in this discussion with me. These discussions are incredibly important and impactful to our wider community, so thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you to all the VP of External Relations candidates for being here today. Will all the candidates for the Executive Vice President position please come to the front table?
Yes, are you?
Yes, I'm so excited. This is just a conversation. It's the spaces that we're in every day.
No, it'll be good.
Yes.
Thank you. Whoa.
I always have to pull up my dad's like two directly.
Your what?
My dad's like
Okay.
totally took those Beseke like recipes.
Like this?
Wait, that's cute.
And I'm a little short. I am too, so I get it. Okay. We always say keep about 2 inches between your mouth and the mic. So like talk as into the mic as possible.
Oops.
Thank you.
Hold on.
Yes. I don't know if she's coming.
Hey. Is this on already? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's good. We unmuted the whole time, so you ready? So it's a little short, but
Okay.
as best as possible, just talk directly into the mic.
Okay, perfect.
Just keep it overhead.
Yeah.
Like, but as much as possible.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Thank you.
You just say 2 inches, you'll know yours is up a little bit more just because of height difference.
Okay, cool.
I wonder where Jasmine is. Do you know her?
Jasmine Vu, if you are here, please come to the front table.
I don't know. I love it.
We should have gave her a slate.
Yeah. Where am I hearing this from?
Okay.
Oh, shoot.
All right. We got this.
saying your prayer. I'm like, okay, we got this.
We got this.
I'll let you know. I'll be like this.
I thought you forgot about me. No.
All right. All right, welcome back, everybody. Next up, we have the Executive Vice President debate. With us today, we have Andy Jose Lopez, Chloe Beseke, and Jacie Foster. We will be following the same ground rules as the previous debate. Would anybody like me to repeat those? Okay. All right. And we are going to be limiting the time allotted to some of the... My bad. Oh. We are going to be limiting the time allotted to some of the questions, and I will tell you guys all what time you'll be allotted for each question before we get into it. Is everybody good? Does anybody have any questions? All right, perfect. First, we are going to start up with some general questions. You will be provided 1 minute each for response and 30 seconds for a rebuttal if you so choose. You may raise your hand if you do have a rebuttal. We are going to first start with Andy. What inspired you to run for the Executive Vice President position, and what makes you qualified for the position?
First of all, I want to thank God because I'm the candidate that wasn't supposed to be here. And I also want to thank the Daily Aztec. And the reason I am here and the reason I was inspired is because I have an invisible disability. And I have been trying to advocate for that invisible disability throughout school, throughout AS, and all those places. That's what pushed me to join AS. The reason why I'm qualified is because right now I'm in my Master for Public Administration. But that's not the only thing that makes me qualify. What makes me qualify is how I was born to the world. I was born as an African Caribbean. I was born to immigrant parents, and I'm also not your traditional student. I am 42 years old, and I'm running as a graduate student, but I also represent all these communities that AS has not touched, all these communities that are not participating, all these communities that are not part of the 15%. That's what makes me the candidate.
Thank you. Same question for you, Chloe. What inspired you to run for Executive VP, and what makes you qualified for the position?
Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe Beseke, and I'm running to be your Executive Vice President. I currently serve as the Aztec Student Union Board Representative. In this role, I'm able to plan more than 60 events a year and manage over a $120,000 budget. These large-scale events bring community, and throughout the year, we've been trying to increase collaboration, in which we have been able to. SDSU student organizations are the backbone of our community, and meaningful collaborations is what makes our events truly impactful. I also serve as a residential advisor in Zura Hall, and I sit on the Residential Curriculum Advisory Committee. These roles, I've been able to support over 800 residents and improve the experience for over 8,500 students living in residential communities. I've been able to use these leadership positions to really advocate for what student needs. I also hold 2 on-campus jobs, so it keeps me grounded to the student experience. I'm not only prepared and qualified for this role, but I'm driven to excel and empower all students.
Thank you. Same question for you, Jacie. What inspired you to run for Executive VP, and what makes you qualified for the position?
Thank you so much. I want to first start by thanking everyone here and congratulating my opponents up on the stage. Student leadership is a big step, and I'm appreciative to share this stage with you. What inspired me to run for Executive Vice President is the experience I've gained the past 3 years in Associated Students, serving as a flex participant my freshman year, Student Diversity Commissioner Representative my second year, and now AS Chief of Staff. In all of these roles, I've seen how decisions are made, how student voices are brought forward, and there's still gaps in representation and access. In Student Diversity Commissioner Representative, I served as on the Campus Life Council, working directly with diverse students from all various backgrounds, working with resource centers, cultural orgs, which gave me a deeper understanding of the different needs and perspectives across campus. As Chief of Staff, I focused on expanding leadership opportunities, growing the Flex program over more than half of its cohort, engaging and increasing in communication throughout outreach and mentorship throughout Associated Students. I'm running because I understand AS and how it works, where it needs to improve, and how to make it more effective for students just like you. Thanks.
Thank you. For this next question, we will start with Chloe. Transparency and accountability are important aspects of leadership. How do you plan to keep the student body informed about your progress and decisions as Executive Vice President, and how will you ensure that you remain accountable to their needs and concerns?
Regarding transparency, I feel like I have a lot of experience with communicating with a broad group of students. As I said, being a residential advisor, I work and I live in the halls with students. I also have sat on the Residential Advisory Committee, and I also sit on the University Senate Freedom of Expression Committee, where I can hear what students' needs and what they need to be advocated for. Regarding accountability, I plan on holding the students and student leaders accountable for what change we need on campus.
Thank you. Same question for you, Jacie. Transparency and accountability are important aspects of leadership. How do you plan to keep the student body informed about your progress and decisions as Executive VP, and how will you ensure that you remain accountable to their concerns?
Yeah, as Executive Vice President, I will chair Campus Life Council. The amazing thing about Campus Life Council is it really does represent all students. This means making sure Student Diversity Commission representative roles are filled from cultural RSOs and cultural centers like they were put in place. Working with student support, which is meant to support all students on campus. Transparency exists when we make sure all perspectives and voices are at the table consecutively when it comes to decision making. As Executive Vice President, I've already had chances to serve in Campus Life Council from a representative role, working with diverse communities, and now as Chief of Staff, bringing in more diverse backgrounds. I know what transparency takes and what it means to work in these roles as leadership, making sure everyone at the table has a voice that is heard but is also amplified. And I continue to hold myself accountable by keeping in place the open door policy our execs currently have, making sure students know I'm accessible and I'm here to amplify their voices and concerns.
Thank you. Same question for you, Andy. Transparency and accountability are important aspects of leadership. How do you plan to keep the student body informed about your progress and decisions as Executive VP, and how will you ensure that you remain accountable to their needs and concerns?
I love how it's been said that we're going to continue connecting with the people that we have connect. Well, what I plan to do is go into those meetings in those communities that have not heard, those communities that we are not already connecting, because that is a place where AS is not doing a great job. It's only 50% voting. So going into these places and connecting with people that don't hear about us, people that have not been able to connect with us, people that come from community like I came, because I'm one of them. So I know how to connect with the people that I'm going to serve, because they are the ones that have been less served.
Thank you. For this next question, we will start with Jacie. Collaboration is often key to achieving goals in student government. How do you plan to collaborate with existing campus organizations, faculty, and administration to implement your proposed initiatives effectively?
Yeah, as I've mentioned my experience, I've been in Associated Students for 3 years. I've seen how Associated Students works in various areas. Working with Student Diversity Commission representative, I had to learn the hard way what it takes to collaborate with all students. It means meeting students where they're at. Cultural RSOs and cultural centers are not fully aware of the seats they already have on these commissions. As Campus Life Council Chair and Executive Vice President, it is your job to be a representative for all students, but also to bridge that gap when it comes to working with faculty and advisors. I like to say my experience speaks for itself, but I'm also aware there's a lot of students we haven't tapped into. As Andy mentioned, there's a lot of communities on campus that aren't aware of the full transparency and the access and opportunities Associated Students has. And as Executive Vice President, I plan to go into those communities, but as well as use the resources we already have put in place. Use student support, use Student Diversity Commission representative where those chairs already exist.
Thank you. We will ask the same question to you, Andy. Collaboration is often key to achieving goals in student government. How do you plan to collaborate with existing campus organizations, faculty, and administration to implement your proposed initiatives effectively?
That's something I already have been doing, not going to plan to do, because I've been pushing in an initiative on campus for the last 3 years. It's a way to identify people with invisible disability. I've been working with that community as I'm part of it, also connecting with other communities. Also, when our students are out here letting their voice be heard, I'm out here with them. I'm out here speaking up with them, and I'm out here walking with them. So that is the community we have not connected with. I'm already connected with them. But I'm also going to keep growing because, as I didn't mention earlier, I'm a New Yorker. I was born in the most diverse area in New York, so connecting with people is something that I already know since a kid. Connecting with different culture, connecting with different people, and I walk in different identity as I stand here. You cannot put me in a box, so I know how to connect with different people. And the people that I have not connected, those people that are running with me in hope are already connected with them.
Thank you. Same question for you, Chloe. Collaboration is often key to achieving goals in student government. How do you plan to collaborate with existing campus organizations, faculty, and administration to implement your proposed initiatives effectively?
I have already worked to increase collaboration through my role as the Aztec Student Union Board representative. Many of our events included collaboration. We just had an event last week that promoted many cultural and identity centers. Increasing collaboration is important to make sure all voices are heard. RSOs and registered student organizations are the backbone of our campus. That's where people feel they can express themselves, and being able to express yourself is very important. Registered student organizations need to be recognized and invited to AS spaces. One initiative that I plan on implementing as Executive Vice President is having open office hours in the AS office, because filling out the Your Voice Matters form or sending an email to your representatives, you really never know where that goes, and sometimes they don't really answer. But having people come into the office and advocate for what they need is very important to me.
Thank you. Would you like to respond?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to address you bringing up AS office hours. I know this initiative is really important, and you've mentioned that, and we've heard it from various students from all different backgrounds. What I wanted to point out is our current Executive Vice President, Milan Rawls, actually ran on this campaign initiative earlier in her past term. She does plan to implement it as of this month, and as we've already seen, it's really important to have campus leadership conversations so we can understand what initiatives are put forward, but also what are going to continue and what are going to happen in action and with timeframes. So I just wanted to address that. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, we will now get into some individual questions. For this, allow minutes each for a response and 1 minute for a rebuttal if you so choose. We are going to start back with Andy. You noted in your candidate statement that, quote, I am involved with Project Rebound and understand struggle, responsibility, and resilience. What are some outstanding needs for formerly incarcerated students, and how will you bring your experiences with Project Rebound to your candidacy?
Most of my community has certain things called like post-incarceration, where they fear. Safety do not look the same for us. What you might think is safety is not safety for us. Where you think a campus full of cops will make people feel safe, it might trigger us in different ways. So the way to put our community out there is to show that we are not our biggest mistake, that our mistake don't define who we are. We are in places running for home kings. We are in places where we're running in different areas, and we're showing in the classes that most of us, after we finish our undergrads, we go into master programs and PhD programs. We are the group that mostly, if you checked us, are all going into higher education. The reason why is because our life experience has made us resilient. Our life experience has taught us that we have to advocate for ourselves. And this is what we could do for others. This is what I've been doing on campus since I stepped on campus, advocating for people with invisible disability and disabilities like myself. And I have been advocating for those that I meet through and all those that I get to speak to. But my community, basically what we need is to just people know that our mistake will not define us, and we will keep defining the odds that come against us.
Thank you. Does anyone have a response to this? All right. Our next question is for Chloe. You sit on the University Senate Freedom of Expression Committee, which advises the president on complaints regarding freedom of expression activities. What complaints are you hearing, and how would you intend to address them as AS Executive Vice President?
Some complaints that I'm hearing is that the university is shutting down some protests and activism efforts on campus. I plan to uplift those, holding more forums where students can advocate for issues that they need to be addressed, being open-minded and hearing what students are needing, and that comes back to my AS office hours. I plan on implementing those on day one when I'm in office, not waiting till the end of my term.
Thank you. Does anyone have a response to this? Yes.
I love how she says office hour, but we know that these things are not being used as they being offers. Even when professors offer them, people are not coming to office hours. So I challenge you, if we do win, whoever does win, let's go out to the community. Let's go speak to the people where they're at, because sometimes they can come to where we at. We need to come to them.
Thank you. All right, our next question is for Jacie. A key goal in your candidate statement is to strengthen, quote, safety and transparency between campus police and students. What are the current communication issues between campus police and students, and how would you address them?
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to address that because I think we all know safety and campus police is not a one-size-fits-all model. I mean, Andy up here has shared his personal experiences and perspectives, and I'm sure Chloe has seen the same thing. When we go into student spaces, everyone feels safety is different, and it's important to honor that. As Executive Vice President, I'm in job to better campus life. That means you should feel supported, safe, and heard, whether you're in your classroom, going to a campus event, or wanting to communicate and mention and meet other students. I believe when it comes to transparency and gaps within campus police and students starts at the forefront of making sure all perspectives are at the table when we have these conversations. Making sure not only are perspectives from different student groups there, but also perspectives from campus police and how they can honor what students feel and what students are saying. Clearly, there's a common disagreement on campus of what campus police looks like or what safety looks like for everyone, and I feel like we need to address that gap, especially as someone who's going to represent all students. It's important I recognize all student perspectives all the time.
Thank you. Does anyone have a response to this?
I do. Do you agree that sometimes we put too much on our officers? We ask them to do things that they weren't trained for, and also we ask them to be in spaces that they were never trained to be.
Can I respond?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's really important that we have students at the forefront of these conversations, because we can't always just have a student conversation and then expect officers to implement change exponentially and happen right away. I think it's important these transformational spaces happen with open communication from perspectives of students, not only from Project Rebound, but also from fraternity and Greek perspectives. I know they've had safety threats at their campus events as well. And so I think when it comes to campus police and the conversations that happen there, it needs to be an open forum where all perspectives are valued the same way, and I know you've been mentioning the same thing.
Thank you. For this next question, we are also going to allow 2 minutes each. The question is, what's one question for your opponent? So as we said in the VP of External Relations debate, you will select one opponent to ask your question to, and they will have 2 minutes to respond. And we will start with Chloe. What's one question you have for one of your opponents?
So this question's for Jacie. As both of us have been in Flex, what have you specifically done in your role of Chief of Staff that has made significant impact on Flex and Fast Track students?
Yeah, thank you. So as we were both in Flex, it was such a full circle moment to now be Chief of Staff. Getting to actually interview, see all the Flex applicants this year was so rewarding. As we grew the program from annually 70 students to over 150 applicants just this year alone. I also doubled the cohort size. We originally take 5 student mentors. I ended up taking 10, meaning I doubled our cohort size working with our executive officer team to make sure we could fit and articulate what we need for all 10 of these amazing first-year students, how to equip them to get involved, but also how we can help them with professional development. When it comes to Flex and Fast Track, size alone and increase shows the outreach and the effort I put in over summer to make sure this program actually is accessible and showcased to all students on campus. But I also would like to thank all of the Flex students here that are running, and elections shows just how much we put forward to choosing incredible students this year and pushing them into leadership positions. Thanks.
All right, Jacie, what is one question you have for one of your opponents?
Yeah, Chloe, you mentioned in your candidacy statement, and I quote, "Through transparent communication and strong partnerships, we can enhance the student experience and build an empowered SDSU community." I wanted to ask, what partnerships were you speaking about, and how do you plan to measure the success of these partnerships?
The partnership I was referring to is through clubs and our registered student organizations, we can also include this in Greek life. Those are really the backbone of where our students find their communities, identity centers, empowering those voices. A lot of the leadership stays within AS and AS voices, and we're inviting them to come in, but we should really be outreaching to them and including them in our spaces and going out to them to make sure that they feel their voices are heard. We can't wait around for them to come to us. We have to go reach them.
Thank you. Andy, what is one question you have for one of your opponents?
I would like to ask Jacie, what are the challenge with building the Center for SWANA? Because a lot of those students, I communicate and keep talking to them, and they really don't understand what is the challenge that you are facing in your position to help them get that center.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify in my statement, I don't express challenges of the SWANA Center, but I instead express promoting and continuing the initiation work that is already started by student leaders. When it comes to the SWANA Center, we know so many student leaders have worked so hard to put forth their perspectives, as well as working one-on-one with our executive president, Karine. So it's really important to make sure those initiatives that were already brought forward and can't continue within such a short time frame, that the next executive team has the same priorities and wants to honor the hard work that was already done by our student leaders. So when I talk about the Swana Center, I don't mean putting forward my own perspectives. I mean taking a step back as a leader because I know I don't represent those communities, but I know it's important to continue the work that was already started by them.
Thank you. We will now get into closing statements. For these, we will provide 1 minute each. And we will start back with you, Andy.
The reason I'm running for this position, it wasn't just a desire. It was to show the voices that have not been heard, to represent those people that are not being touched by AS, for those that have a bad taste in their mouth about AS, to help them understand that AS is a place where they could also, that their voice could be heard, but most of all to step down from my position, to step down from being behind a desk and to go connect with them, to go hear their voices, to represent those that have not been represented in AS, but to bring them to the table. Because most times the people that know the solution are the people that are in the problem. I do not know some of those solutions because I don't deal with some of the issues they do. But bringing them to the table and giving them a voice as a student leader, that's what I could do.
Thank you. Chloe, your closing statement.
I want to say thank you again to Daily Aztec for hosting this debate and giving me and my fellow candidates this platform. Throughout my time at SDSU, I've been privileged to hold multiple leadership positions. I have worked 2 years to build a community where everyone feels like they belong, where everyone can express themselves, and everyone can see the positivity and light that radiates when we work together as one SDSU community. You need a leader that understands what students are struggling with. You need a leader that has already worked with a multitude of students, organizations, and campus administrators. You need a leader that is ready to advocate for students and make real change. As Executive Vice President, I plan on continuing the work that I've already laid the groundwork for. I will not just represent you, but I will empower you. Thank you.
Thank you. Jacie, your closing statement.
Yeah. Thank you again to the Daily Aztec and everyone that's here today. Throughout this debate, you've heard a lot of ideas. But what matters most as an executive vice president is the ability to turn those ideas into real tangible results. This role requires a deep understanding of how Associated Students works, operates, and across multiple areas, and how to navigate those systems effectively to create change. Having that experience means being prepared on day one to follow through, deliver, and make AS better for students just like you. That experience also means investing in others. I've worked closely with students who are now stepping into leadership themselves, running for current positions just as of this term, and even on opposing slates. That impact matters because strong leadership is not just one person. It's about building a community that continues to grow and strive. I'm here for the betterment of our campus, to make sure students feel comfortable coming here every day, and to ensure you feel safe and supported. Because at the end of the day, this role is about you, your experience, your safety, and your ability to thrive at San Diego State. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone for coming, and thank you to the candidates for Executive Vice President, as well as the candidates we heard earlier from VP of External Relations. We'll be back here tomorrow at noon for the next round of debates featuring the AS President candidates. Thank you all.